babies looking for food. Starvation, the recipe, people subdued. When the people you trust got it in for you. Deceit is the word of the day in every clue. Don't let it go, it's from the days of old. Time is up, but some still do not know. Can I make up my mind? Is it worth the dime? Do I have to take a minute just to make it mine? Life's never fair, but don't listen to the TV. Go out and take a listen to the streets with the people in the slums and the homeless bums with degrees and degrees sitting under a tree. It's not easy in the world for the poor man, the one that brought you to reality. See, they don't want you to know about the black sheep. Even 7 roads to the 12 families all around the globe with an ancient code. Is it really asking a lot to say a death old? Cause we sitting on the earth looking back at extinct, and I'm standing on some ground that's about to sink. I ain't scared for a minute, I ain't about to blink, but I documented for the world what I see and think. Feel we on the call and I feel we on the break. All Congress gonna do is waste paper and ink. Vote or die, you voted and you'll die. You can have it both ways, can't say it's a lie. You can march all you want, but they playing you wrong. They only understand war, it's the same old song. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. All they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. Like a lotus coming out of the mud with colors, I create envy in those with power but jealous. I unify the poor with my song, the hell with the others. Descended the way they treat indigenous brothers. Cause I understand we link forever. They try to hate us even though that we keep it together. I'm not talking about controlling the air or the weather. I'm talking about maintaining the truth, the high endeavor. A rebel drops bombs in the midst of trouble. The free world counterattack and now there's double. But nature gets the shit in a way that's subtle. If you stop the machines for a minute you might hear, but they won't cause the TV's whisper in the ear. And capitalism has eyes that don't tear, and they cloud up and get crazy and won't steer. And like an ab, it's hard to get an ass to listen. Living like this is like living in prison. It's hard to keep hope when you're living in prison. The spiritual thoughts, so yes, the mental prison. The outside, yes, it's got to get through. Something's gotta die, so something here can live. Your life is nothing if you got nothing to give. Keeping the spiritual, yes, disguised as religion. Controlling your mind, the mental prison. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. All they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war.
I am astonished. Oh my goodness. It is November 10th, Monday, 7:35 a.m. Central European Time. That would make it 1:35 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, USA. What's up, everybody? That would make it, maybe 10 o'clock, something like that in Asia. And the West Coast, that's going to be around 11 p.m. West Coast time, something like that, right? What's up, everybody? I don't understand it. Sometimes, I'm sorry, but I saw a lot of critics out there. I've seen a lot of critics in my time of the Democratic Party. I've seen a lot of critics. Over this last election cycle, over the last year. I've seen a lot of critics, and I have to tell you, I've been sitting abroad watching these critics. I give a damn. I voted for Kamala Harris from here, from abroad. I had to go fill out this information. First of all, go in and get my electronic voting thing from DC. Get it sent from the DC Board of Elections over to Copenhagen, Denmark. Follow the procedures or whatever to vote. And obviously you have to give up some information, verifying information for you to get it. And they have your information year after year. They know who you are. You can't just go in and switch up shit about yourself and then get these, be able to vote. But I've seen a lot of critics, and I'm going to tell you, man, I'm going to tell you guys, do not listen to the critics, man. The critics can be fucking wrong. And I'm not talking about, the quality critics, yo. I got to tell you, the folks, like governor out in California knows what the fuck he's talking about. I'm going to tell you, Midas Touch Network, they know what the fuck they're talking about. I'm telling you, people in the strong sphere, metasphere, that have been talking about politics in general, left or right, they know what they're talking about. But I mean, some others inside, there's this movement, this defeatist movement inside of the left, you could say, somewhere in the left, man. Now, I'm going to tell you, I first started seeing these critics when it came time to vote for Kamala Harris. What they did was talk about Israel. If you don't do something about Israel, forget it. You don't get my vote. Well, you see, Trump was worse. And people try to tell you Kamala Harris wanted to make things better. You have to give her a MFing chance. Being the first woman to ever serve in the vice presidency ever in the history of the United States of America. And these left-leaning people just kept saying, nah, forget it. Well, it got worse. Similar thing happened here this time around. I was watching. Look, I was watching. This is what I was watching. Let me pull this up. Oh my God. And I'm telling you, man, it just annoys me sometimes because the critics get ahead of themselves. They think they're so fucking smart all the goddamn time. And it really is becoming a problem. It's really becoming a problem. Let me show you who I'm talking about. Oh my God, man. This just really, really bothers me. This is who I'm talking about. Look at this. I'm not talking about Michael Cohen. I'm talking about this cat here, the Young Turks dude who I like a lot. And I watch I watch not often, and the reason why is because he's always going in on certain Democrats, and I just want to say to you, sir, you got it wrong this time. Schumer did not break the ranks, sir. While this dude was busy at the nighttime doing his little critique, right, of what we need in the Democratic Party. You need to fight harder. Yeah, we all know we need to fight harder, but this guy goes after some of the leadership. Let me tell the American people something. Jeffries did not sell out the American people. Schumer did not sell out the American people. But do you want to know who did? It's 8 other senators that have nothing to do with them. Yes, Schumer had to walk off the floor yesterday. Like, what the hell is going on? And I'm going to tell you, sometimes our critics, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Yo, you got to get a little bit deeper. Get past your own prejudice or your old expertise, your 10-year expertise in media. Now, this is not a hit piece on Sync, because I respect him and I respect Young Turks a lot because they're not always getting it wrong. Goddamn. I mean, and plenty of Americans feel like Democrats need to fight harder. Yeah, they do need to. No, it's not Democrats that need to fight harder. American people, period, need to fucking fight harder if you want a fair shake from these fucking billionaires who you subsidize, period. Stop saying Democrats need to fucking fight harder. It shouldn't even come down to 4 or 8 Democratic senators joining Republicans. There should be no Republicans voting for this shit that you're about to that you're getting. Yo, 8 Democrats, and it wasn't Schumer. It was not Schumer. It was not Schumer. It was not Jeffries that joined them. No. It was some other ones. And It's really, really sad and pathetic that they would do that. But let me show you who they were first. This is something else, man. I'm really, I'm not at a loss. I'm not surprised, but I just want to be clear with people. It was not Schumer. So Sink, if you was thinking it was going to be Schumer or Jeffries, and Sink sat up there the whole time talking about the establishment, you know, the Schumer, they're not fighting hard enough, and Jeffries, and gave this whole description about how they're, you know, don't look authentically fighting. It's like, man, if you don't, what does authentically fighting look like? You gotta just, you know, I mean, yo, this guy was on their ass, and he was totally wrong about who was about to do the hit piece on the American people. I mean, folks don't be like he was just totally wrong. Hold on, let me see here. Let me try to pull this up real quick. Where are my damn shorts at? Here we go. Let me go over here because Midas Touch just put out the pictures of these folks. So let's go here. Here we go. Here's the photographs. Here we go, y'all. Let's check it out. Boom. Senator Tim Kaine, Senator John Fetterman, Senator Janie Shahil. Is that her last name? Shahid. Who else is this right here? Oops. Damn. Did I miss that? Let me open it up here. Senator Cortez Masto, and hold on, and there's two others. Hold on, let's see here. It's about to flip over to the next part. Is it right here? Right, it's right here. Doom. Right. Dick Durbin, Janie Shaheen, right, I said her name right. Senator Maggie Hansen, and Senator Jackie, what's her last name? What is her? I can't see her last name here. But in any case, you get the point. It's these ones. You don't see Schumer anywhere in the picture because Schumer didn't. Jeffries didn't. You know, and I'm going to tell you, none of them did a breakdown on who actually did, except the Midas Touch so far. I mean, the Midas Touch did a breakdown just now, and I just caught it, and I was like, what the hell is going on? But I caught it right after watching Sync, you know, and let me play you a little bit of what Sync was saying. But this is not a hit piece on Sync. I just want you to know before we find out. Now, just for folks that don't know, 8 Democrats in the Senate joined the Republicans to basically end, forget what they're telling you, basically to end the American Health Care Act. That's basically what it's going to do. It ends the shutdown with a promise to revisit the health care again. So the health care extends for 2 months. That's it till January 30th. That's it. But let's get into the details. I'm going to cover the details in a second, but let's just listen to the conversation with Sync. And, you know, I hope this is a lesson because, you know, in my view, he's also part of the old kind of left Democrat, and he's a Democrat. You know what I'm saying? I'm a Democrat, but in my view, I'm more progressive than him. You see what I mean? Because I'm not just repeating the same talking point over and over and over, you know, and I think they go a little bit hard on the Democrat establishment, mischaracterizing Jeffries, mischaracterizing Schumer. And I don't always agree with Schumer or Jeffries 100%, but I do know one damn thing. They are real. They are authentic. They have experience, and they are real movers and shakers in the Democratic Party. And you can't take that away from them. They are tacticianists. They know exactly what the fuck they're doing. And just because they don't get out there and curse or look tough doesn't mean shit in the game of politics. Look at weirdo MAGA Mike Johnson. Does he look tough to you? Well, look at fat ass gluttonous Trump. Does he look tough to you? No. But in terms of their politics, they are wicked. You see what I mean? And they're getting shit done. And all you have to do, if you're a Democrat, is hold the line with your own stance on shit, and you win. Also, American people, if you want health care, all you got to do is hold the line. If you want your tax dollars to benefit your community, your life, your family, all you got to do is hold the line. It's nothing more magical than that. You see what I mean? But you will always see these fractures along the way. And I was sitting back watching this.
Great to see you again. It's been a while.
You know,
my entire life.
I watch Maya Copa, and big up to to Cohen here, you know what I'm saying, and say, but just this is what I was watching. This is current. This is just what, an hour, 2 hours ago. What is this? 14 hours ago. Okay, so I just got up and started my morning and started watching this, and this is what was going on. So this is while the Senate was in session. This is while the Senate was in session. Let's take a listen.
Lifetime do this same act, right? Oh, we care so much about you. And then they get in office and they pass a whole bunch of things to help their donors and nothing for us, right? And then every once in a while, the Democrats will do, a little bit of relief valve and they'll do Obamacare. They'll act, right?
Let me bring it back so you can actually hear the beginning of his statement.
Because it's one thing when we've had corporate Democrats and corporate Republicans my entire lifetime do this same act.
Yeah, Flowers, folks got to vote them out. But a couple of them are not even up for re-election. That's the thing. A couple of them are safe in their seats for 6 years because of their own state laws. They doing it on a 6-year period, which is also corrupt, like you're saying. And a few of them are not even. It's a couple of them that aren't up for election this 2026. So that's the issue there. But
right. Oh, we care so much about you. And
now he's talking about the Republicans. All we do is care so much about you. I agree. They suck that game.
It's one thing when we've had corporate Democrats and corporate Republicans my entire lifetime do this same act, right? Oh, we care so much about you. And then they get in office and they pass a whole bunch of things to help their donors and nothing for us, right? And then every once in a while, the Democrats will do, a little bit of relief valve and they'll do Obamacare. They'll pass one bill every decade or so, maybe every 2 decades. And then so people are like, okay, the Democrats are better. And they are. That's why I'm a Democrat. Democrats are better.
Okay. So one thing you got to understand is, the one thing that Sink is leaving out here is that Democrats never have been controlling the damn Supreme Court. So any law that you pass, even if it's signed, it can be fought in the Supreme Court. Don't you know that's exactly what happened with the student debt thing? You see, so it's not actually a fair presentation to make it seem like, then Democrats come back and they do a little bit, but they don't come through. Well, first of all, voters, if you want judges, Democratic judges, sitting on the Supreme Court that see life your way, you must vote for people, congressional members, senators that actually want them in office. You actually have to be there. And the Dems or the Republicans have duped folks a couple of times. They duped the Dems one time. I mean, one time with these judges, the Dems let them off with a promise. And this is the same damn thing, letting them off with a promise of doing something later, which is never going to happen in your life. But check it out. Let's hear more.
Okay. But are they good enough? No, not nearly good enough. But so why is Trump in more trouble then? Because Trump made both the strategic correct decision, but also set himself up for disaster when he pretended to be a populist. So what he did was he built up people's hopes much higher, right? So like people have a general sense Mitt Romney and Kamala Harris aren't really going to deliver for you. Like if you live in elite circles, you might think that they will, right? You might think that, what do you mean? Mitt Romney, the good old days of Republicans that used to, be good people, and Kamala, of course she cares. No, guys, they're just corporate Republicans and Democrats. Never going to ever give you anything. But Trump doing the same thing, but worse, when he promised to be for the average guy way more than the normal politician in America did. So now when he betrays that trust, I think that his biggest problem in the long run is not even with Democrats or even independents. It's MAGA guys who are going to wake up and realize that Trump was never on their side.
Now, see, I said this the other day. That's actually going to be the reckoning for the Republicans. Actually, I agree with this part of it. But watch, my whole point is not that I don't disagree with saying, I actually agree with most of what comes out of Young Turks, most of it, right? But here's the thing. Still, there's a tendency, and this is not a hit piece on Young Turks or Sink. I'm just saying, right while the votes were happening, right while the votes were convening, this is what was going on. Listen.
And that he had conned them all along. And those MAGA guys are going to be super pissed. And then, but most importantly for politics, once his support with independents craters, and it's in the middle of cratering now, but it's going to keep on going down, okay? And once it bottoms out, the Republicans are in way more trouble than they realize.
Yeah, I know that I saw there was a whole slew of posts on social media, particularly Truth Social, where MAGA faithful, and I'm talking about like the faithful of the faithful, red hat, shirt wearing, barn painting, agri farmers and cattle farms and so on, ranchers, that they're pissed off and they're like, whoa, we voted for you. You're leaving us in the dust as you're now working with Venezuela and Argentina and China, and you're basically cutting us out. But I did want to ask you this, because for years,
a lot of MAGA people, hey, you got your 40 billion going over to Argentina. I'm sure you agree with that. That's what you voted for, right? But that's what MAGA is. Fake populism.
You've said that Democrats lose when they play defense. This
is what you got to listen to. I agree. Democrats lose when they play defense. And that is exactly what happened today in the Senate. So that's Michael Cohen's point. That's Sink's point also. I agree with that.
Time. They leaned in, right? Abortion rights, gun reform, protecting democracy. And you know what? It's working.
Yeah. No.
Do you think this proves that being boldly progressive isn't political suicide anymore, but rather we can call it almost like political oxygen?
Oh, 100%. So, guys, first of all, Michael, we got to clarify what we mean by progressive these days, right? So, and people use slightly different terms, and they have slightly different meanings, and they're important. So, populist in America these days basically means you're for the average guy and not for the donors, right? Progressive means you're on the left, but it has two different branches. One is the culture war stuff and the identity politics stuff, and the other is the economic populism, like the economically progressive. So the culture war stuff doesn't work, and I've never liked it. And Democrats used to get mad at me for not doing culture war stuff. I'm like, guys, I'm born Muslim. I mean, I could play that card. We could play any card we like, but that's not going to win over the average guy. We need to be on our side and to deliver for them, for everyone. Stop with this identity or that identity. Okay.
I don't know what he means by that, but I do agree that there's got to be a center. There's plenty of things in the center. Economics and healthcare should be a center thing. Healthcare shouldn't be left or right, but in the United States of America, it's a leftist, extreme socialist leftist agenda. Healthcare in the U.S. Education in the U.S. is extreme leftist, but you can fund all the billionaires you want. That's becoming more center in the USA, funding billionaires, right? Funding the biggest socialist project on earth, the U.S. military, is perfectly fine, just not education, just not healthcare, just not affordable housing.
So now when you turn to the economic side
of
the Democratic Party, at least their policies,
Donnie in the house,
progressive policies, the populist policies, that's where we are all aligned, right? And not just Democrats, but almost all the independents. The reason I'm on the Democratic side and I'm on the left side is because the policies are better, right? Paid family leave is better, higher minimum wage is better, lower drug prices are better if they ever do them, right? And I can go on and on, right? So those policies, if the Democratic politicians ever actually did them when they get power, they would be so popular. They have no idea, right? When FDR did Social Security and did all these different economic programs.
Right. So in other words, student debt relief. This is where I agree generally with his statement. But listen, you have this thing. What was student debt relief? Was student debt relief identity politics? No, it wasn't identity politics. It was just across the board. People pay too much for education in the United States. There's way too many that go on in debt for their entire lives and can't even buy a damn home. What are you talking about? See, this is where I don't get it. It was shot down by the Supreme Court. And you have to understand that that's not a Democrat thing. That's a right-wing Supreme Court thing. But my whole thing is that he's going to go on, and a lot of the criticisms are true. I'm not taking away from the criticisms that are true. Obviously, I like a lot of what Sink says, and a lot of Young Turks messaging. Right, I get that. They're great. They're great news outlet. But here's the thing. That's not my point. My point is not are they great or are they good. My point is something else. We tend to go after people in some ways that don't benefit. And I'm going to show you, he's about to say it, because when we go after Jeffries and go after Schumer, almost like it's a talking point, like that's a good enough talking point. Any day, just because they've been there, just because they rank and file, automatically they're bad. Wrong. Because guess who sold you out tonight, Sink? It wasn't Jeffries and it wasn't Schumer. See, that's the point I'm trying to make. And why we spend so much energy going after Schumer and Jeffries, who actually have a huge job, and their job is not to follow whoever the president is. That's not their job. That's not MAGA Mike Johnson's job to follow whoever the president is. Their job is to gather the votes on the floor, to make a deal that everyone can go along with so the American people can move forward with your party and with the other party. That's their job. You see what I mean? So I didn't see Schumer break rank and file tonight. He didn't break rank and file. He didn't vote for He didn't vote to fund the government without all the healthcare shit and without all the other issues that are going to come to play in 2 months. And January 30th, the pain is about to sink in. You got to understand that. And the 8 Democrats that voted with the Republicans today to open the government back up, not one of them was Schumer. Not one of them was named Schumer. And that's my point. And we often go after Schumer. It's like, come on, you gotta dig in a little bit deeper to the details. But let's go on.
To help the American people. The Democrats won for 40 years straight.
Yo, Dems got to keep on fighting. This hit, it's not even Dems. Americans better stand up and fight for the life they want to have. Do they want live? And I'm talking about Republicans, Democrats, Independent, whatever. You all in the same goddamn boat. You are all getting fucked. Just very simple. The average Republican voter is getting fucked. The average Democratic voter is getting fucked. The average independent voter is getting fucked with this government right now in real time, and you will live it out. And other people will be watching you from the outside going, interesting.
So if we would just do our policies, we'd be in golden shape. And look, Michael, I've been in a war against the establishment side of the Democratic Party for the last 10, 20 years, right? And my main thing is...
This is the part right here I'm talking about. And he has been. And that's what I'm saying. He has been, as he says, at war with the rank and file Democratic Party. But here, let's hear exactly what he says now.
And look, Michael, I've been in a war against the establishment side of the Democratic Party for the last 10, 20 years, right? And my main thing is, for God's sake, guys, stop kissing the ass of the donors. I got it. You need their money. You got their money. But when you're in charge, if you keep blocking all of your policies, you're just going to be just as hated as Trump. For God's sake, do your policies and we'll be in great shape.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes when I listen to Hakeem Jeffries
here, check it out,
or Chuck Schumer, I actually wish I was deaf, And I mean, I can't stand listening to either of them. Self-righteous,
You see, this is what I'm talking about. And it's not just saying this kind of idea, like, what's going on in someone. Self-righteous, what the fuck are you talking about? You can't measure self-righteousness outside of, from your own perspective. That's self-righteous. You see what I mean? You can't measure what someone else is thinking, and this is the part that I really think is not good when we talk about people that are supposed to be on the left. Let's keep in mind, Michael Cohen worked for this bastard, gluttonous pig, Trump. For how long did he do his butt work for him? So let's just keep this in mind.
Cosplay anger.
He calls it cosplay. So you see Schumer's and Jeffries cosplay. Schumer's and Jeffries didn't vote against the American people today. though. See, this is the era. So while this vote was going on, they were doing this.
They put on. How about just show some real fucking emotion? How about like if I was
That's so funny. Show some real fucking emotion. What do you want? You want a goddamn Timothy McVeigh event? Is that what you want? You know, and I know he doesn't mean that, but what I'm saying is that it's not about emotions. Not on that level. Not when you're the head of the Democrat, not when you're the head of a party in the minority party or majority party, and not when you're in either house. It's not. It just simply isn't. Period. Michael, you're wrong.
Standing up there, I would turn around and I would talk about what Proposition 15 actually means. You know what it means? It means you woke the fucking bear up, you poked the bear, you turn around and you try to fuck the whole system in terms of gerrymandering. And you know what? It's now going to bite you in the ass because two can play at that game. Oh my God, you know who said that? Gavin Newsom. Right? He got up. He doesn't make 3, 4, 5 hour, 20.
Gavin Newsom, you know, and I love Gavin Newsom. In fact, you know, I support him, period. But different job. See, when you're actually doing Jeffrey's work or Schumer's work, you know what you have to do as soon as you get off the microphone? Not only are you talking to your own constituents, because listen, that's with the things that he likes of Gavin Newsom. Yes, you need to do that. You need to talk to your constituency. You need to get them motivated. You need to get them to come out and vote. But that's not what's going on when you're the leader of, you know, when you're Jeffries or Schumer. No, they actually immediately have to go and make a deal with the other side to get the votes if you're the minority. That's what you have to do, even when you're the majority. If you want a super majority, if you want 60 on either side in the House or the Senate, you actually have to talk to them too. And I think this is the little nuance that they miss. And excuse me, you know, I know I'm not an expert like Cohen. I know I'm not an expert like Sink. I know I'm not an expert like a whole lot of people. But I'm just saying, it's just my view on it. I think sometimes we miss it because, again, guess who didn't sell out the Democrats while they were talking? It wasn't Jeffries, the guy that they're criticizing for not having enough emotion. It wasn't Schumer, the guy who they're criticizing for not having enough emotion. It was the other ones that did it. Look, it was them. They didn't even come up on the radar. You see? Hold on. Here it is. Boom. Here we go. They didn't even come up on the radar. It's them. It's 8 of them. That's who did it. It wasn't Jeffries, the boring man who you don't like. The one who just is so boring, not exciting, not animated enough, not angry enough. It wasn't that one, and it wasn't Schumer. It was actually these ones that did it. These 8, they sold out the Democratic Party. They sold out the United States taxpayer. You know, they did. And what they got is something else. Now, I'm just going to let this play for one more second. And again, this is not a hit piece on either one of these guys because I actually like and respect the work that they do, you know, period. I'm just keeping it real from my perspective. Okay. I didn't work for Trump, right? I'm a voter. I'm an American citizen. I didn't vote. I didn't work for Trump for 10 years, carrying his water. You know what I mean? I'm not part of, you know, Young Turk Network. I don't have a network that's backing me up that makes it seem like anything I say is right, even if it's not. No, you have a issue of power no matter what you're doing. No matter what network you're working with, you have an issue of power. You know, as soon as you become successful, all of a sudden power dynamics come into play. And sometimes people get it wrong, you know, but let's just hear a little bit more.
24-hour speeches. He gets up there, he lays it out. So do people like Newsom. He woke the fucking bear. How about anger that they put on Schumer?
You're in charge. If you keep blocking all of your policies, you're just going to be just as hated as Trump. For God's sake, do your policies and we'll be in great shape.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes when I listen to Hakeem Jeffries or Chuck Schumer, I actually wish I was deaf, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, I can't stand listening to either of them. Self-righteous, the cosplay anger that they put on.
Big up to all the trolls in the chat too. Thank you for driving up the algorithm.
How about just show some real fucking emotion?
Who's paying for you anyway?
How about like if I was standing up there, I would turn around and I would talk about what Proposition 15 actually means. You know what it means? It means you woke the fucking bear up, you poked the bear, you turn around and you try to fuck the whole system in terms of gerrymandering. And you know what? It's now going to bite you in the ass because two can play at that game. Oh my God, you know who said that? Gavin Newsom. Right? He got up. He doesn't make 3, 4, 5 hour, 24-hour speeches. He gets up there. He lays it out. So do people like, Ocasio-Cortez, even though I don't agree with a lot of the shit she's.
I mean, I'm going to tell you, I understand where Schumer's coming from. I understand where Jeffries is coming from. I don't think either one of them would be allowed to be president of the United States. I think what he's looking for is what a person who can run, a person that's a governor, person that's a congressional member, not the head of the party, not the head of Congress, of the minority, not the head of the majority. That's not what they do. They don't run for president. And I think that's the issue. Schumer could never be president because his Jewish background will always make people assume that he's a Zionist, that he's something. The right wing will come out after him. The MAGA people will come after him because he's Jewish, and other people will too. Some people from the left will. Hakeem Jeffries is a black man. He will get all the tropes. People won't trust him. Then on top of it, he's establishment, so he can't be trusted. So these guys can't win no matter what. You see what I mean? They can't win with every voter no matter what. So you can't try to be somebody else. What you can do is lean back on experience. Notice how many people don't like experience. I mean, Nancy Pelosi, people hated her just because she was the first woman wasn't she the first woman to be the leader of the House? Right? Isn't that correct? I believe so. Didn't people hate the hell out of Nancy? What a coincidence. Just like they hate the hell out of Kamala Harris. What a coincidence. First woman you hate that deeply. You hate more than a pedophile. Wow. So I think there's some small things there that they're missing on this point, but let me just let him make his point about this last thing. And then,
right. Lo and behold, she says it 1, 2, 3. I'll tell you, there's a whole slew of Josh Shapiro says it just the way that it is. Gottheimer says it just the way.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm sorry. I'm going to stop it right here. Wrong job. Yo, excuse me. He got the wrong job. The leaders of the click like, please. Y'all can click the like button if you don't mind. The leader of the House, the leader of the Senate, minority or majority party, they talk a little different than a person that might be running for president. They talk a little different than the rank and file or average member of their own party in the House, in either houses. They talk different because they don't have to walk up there tomorrow with the president or the other party every single day to try to beg them to make a deal or even ask them to make a deal. See, that's the difference. When you don't have to do that, you don't give a fuck what you say. You can say fuck you all day long and people will be like, yeah, you poked the bear. But when it comes time to getting some votes ended, that might not be the way to go. I mean, I actually am not. I mean, look at who sold them out. It wasn't them. It wasn't them. It's crazy, but it wasn't them. This is who it was. Schumer's not here. Schumer, Jeffries, nobody named Jeffries here. Nobody named Schumer here. These are the other ones. And some of these get a little animated too, by the way. You see? So I just really wonder about that aspect. Now, in any case, while I was watching that, and I was just thinking, yeah, this is just the same. I expected this kind of talk. I'm not surprised. I did kind of expect it, and I did expect Sink to kind of co-sign it because, like you heard him say, he's been against rank and file Dems for 10 years. You know what I'm saying? So, but I think sometimes you can be a little blind. And when I'm talking about progressive, I'm talking about up on what's happening right now, period. Like, I'm able to dip and dive right now, fresh off the jump. You see what I mean? Not stuck doing the same robot move as before. And sometimes some of the criticisms are the same robot moves. Yo, come on, we can do better. But in any case, like I said, that's not a hit piece on either one of them. I just thought, like, wow, while the vote is going on, this is what the criticism is. And guess who sold the people out? It wasn't Schumer. It wasn't Jeffries, yo. But in any case, let's listen.
Because evidently
this is crazy.
He doesn't want to hear
over.
any opposing views or whom I missed. Number one, he acknowledged that the Democrats.
Now, this is Schumer. He walked off the floor.
Have actually not put forward a written proposal that people could look at. I was going to ask him before he stormed out of the room, because evidently he doesn't want to hear any opposing views or actually engage in meaningful negotiation. He would have heard me ask the next question. If he had stayed, I would have asked him a third question. Does he?
You see? So Schumer actually walked off the floor, and so he held the line. Jeffries held the line. 8 other senators from the Democratic Party did not hold the line. They did not do what people in the party, at least what you hear, said they would do. Even myself, I'm like, if you do not hold the line, man, the American people, Republicans, Democrats, Independents, are about to enter into the harshest period of their lives. Just full stop. American people have now officially been ushered into the worst. I'm talking about officially on paper. See, because not funding the government is not on paper. That's waiting to make a deal, the right deal, a deal American people can live with. What you just witnessed is a deal that's ushering you into the worst period, economic period of any American's life, period. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're a MAGA voter. It doesn't matter if you're independent. And it doesn't matter if you're a Democrat. Although blue states tend to stand a little stronger economically, this was only a deal for the billionaire class.
We want these monies to go directly to insurance companies. Let me repeat that, Madam President, because I don't think the American people have been told the truth here. This money does not go to people on Obamacare. This is a check written from the federal government to the wealthiest insurance companies on the planet.
Right. So that was their play to try to confuse people, to make you think that a $2,000 check is going to pay for $20,000 a year insurance. You know, insurance that might have been $10,000 before, 14, now it's going to be 25, maybe 30. And you think $2,000 handout is going to do that? But you do the math. If that's your way of doing math, then you should accept it. But Schumer walked out now.
Okay, well, this is a big update and frankly, very welcome news for Republicans in the government shutdown battle. They're finally playing smart politics. I love to see it because as I posed in yesterday's video, when it comes to these Obamacare tax subsidies that the Democrats are withholding government funding over and claiming, oh, your premiums are going to go up if we don't get rid of this corporate socialism, I stated I think this is the perfect time for Republicans to actually present their own solution when it comes to.
And so they did, and that didn't work. And now what you got out of that is because obviously that was bullshit. Anybody could see $2,000 is not a damn thing for healthcare in the United States of America. That's like, what are you talking about, man? $2,000? They're giving you $2,000 to give up your healthcare. That's what that was. Just forget healthcare at all, and I'll give you $2,000. Well, after that happened, after people, Chuck Schumer was like, man, fuck that. What the hell are you talking about? This is what happened.
Partisan conversations. After weeks of bipartisan conversations, I voted today to reopen the government so that we can get back to the work of helping Granite Staters.
Hooray, the government's open now, y'all. Clap. Everybody be happy until when? Clock is on, January 30th.
We are following breaking news out of Washington, D.C. tonight. Just moments ago, the Senate approved a bipartisan agreement to fund the government until the end of January. Passing that bill, they take the first steps in ending the government shutdown. We got a live look at the Senate.
Democrats got nothing. 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 Those 8 Democrats caved in 100%. All you got is another. You got 2 months. You got 2 months of your health care, y'all. That's what you got. The health care that you had before Trump became president, you have maximum 2 months left. That is what you got. And everything else that the Republicans wanted, they got. So save your pennies. Get your rice and beans, your dry rice and beans. Stock them up. Get yourself some fresh water. Stock that up. You know, because and also say goodbye to your health care too. Because I mean, you may as well just say fuck health care right now, because most of you could not afford it anyway. So this is just a little interim moment for you to think about. Like, damn, it was really costing me a lot anyway, and so maybe it's better to not have health care than to have any at all the last 2 months, since I need to save up money, right? You know, because you can't do both. You can't have health care and afford inflation and afford all the job losses and afford the US dollar cracking down and down and down. I mean, you know, the tariffs, you're still trying to figure out from the Supreme Court if tariffs are legal from the president, if he can control the tariffs. I mean, okay.
Floor for you on the right and that rare Sunday vote. Thanks for joining us here at 11 o'clock. I'm John Schoenheider, and as you saw, Senator Maggie Hassan and Senator Jeanne Shaheen spearheaded this effort. They played a crucial role in those negotiations on behalf of the Democrats. Our Maria Wilson will have the full breakdown in just a few minutes. But first, let's talk about what this deal is. The deal includes a new stopgap measure to
put a 1 in the chat if any of you have health care. Put it and let me know which one you have, what it's called in your own state. Don't say Medicaid and Medicare if it's not called that in your own state. Put a 1 in the chat and put your state and name your health care. Okay, I'm just curious to know how many people in the chat actually really have a stake in this.
Extend government funding until January 30th. It's tied to a bigger package to fully fund several key agencies. It includes a reversal of Trump's firings of federal employees and provisions to stop that from happening again. It also makes sure food stamps are funded through fiscal year 2026. The broader legislation also includes 3 full-year appropriations bills. Those deal with military construction and Veterans Affairs, the legislative branch, and the Department of Ag. Now, the deal does not include an extension of the expiring Enhanced Affordable Care Act subsidies. That was a key demand from Democrats in the shutdown. But
I hope y'all heard that. I hope you heard that. So I'm just going to bring this part back because this is probably the most concerning right now. But as you know, everything else that the Republicans wanted, they got because of these 8 Democrats who joined them. So, you know, I mean, me, myself, I think, you know, the Democratic Party got to get to the point where they just, you know, I don't know really what you can really do when you have members break ranks like that. And I'm sure that some of it has something to do with their donors, obviously, whoever the donors are. But the bottom line is that those 8 people got to be put, you know, in the spotlight. Everything needs to be put in the spotlight, you know, at this point, because I don't think this is a Democrat thing. This should just be, you know, an American people thing. Like, again, I'm going to remind folks that I've never gone to I live outside of the U.S. as an American citizen. I've never seen any other people function like this. I've never seen any other people in any other Western nation not be 100% united on motherfucking healthcare or education. I mean, this is really weird on a Western democratic level, like really, really weird for people to not even want the basics. Yo, this is fucking weird.
Wouldn't make sure.
I'm going to rewind this real quick.
Of Trump's bigger package to.
Here we go. Reversal of Trump's firings. Funding deal. Okay, let's see this.
To extend government funding. spearheaded this effort. They played a crucial role in those negotiations on behalf of the Democrats. Our Maria Wilson will have the full breakdown in just a few.
Somebody said no money for Israel. You out of your goddamn mind. They getting money right there. Their money is in the package, you dumbass. What the? No money for you. Wait a second. You didn't know what a shutdown was. A shutdown doesn't allow a lot of different money. It doesn't allow money from no billionaires to go out either. But somebody literally thinks that this bill joining them stop money from Israel. Man, you out of your mind. If that's what you thought, maybe you didn't think that, but if that's what you thought, oh, you are deceived. In fact, this releases money to Israel. It releases money to Argentina. It releases money, all the money. It releases all the money to the billionaires that they wanted. See, they passed the law, but then you have to fund it. So they couldn't get their money just because the law was passed. Now it's officially funded. They're going to get their money. They're going to get their money. All the people that ain't American people going to get their money.
Minutes. But first, let's talk about
only people not getting their money is the people in the United States that need health care, education, housing,
what this deal
a decent living wage
is. The deal includes a new stopgap measure to extend government funding until January 30th. It's tied to a bigger package to fully fund several key agencies. It includes a reversal of Trump's firings of federal employees and provisions.
This is not even promised. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You see, this is not promised. This is just what could happen, but this is not a promise.
To stop that from happening again. It also makes sure food stamps are funded through fiscal year 2026. The broader legislation also includes 3 full-year appropriations bills. Those deal with military construction and Veterans Affairs, the legislative branch, and the Department of Ag. Now, the deal does not include an extension of the expiring Enhanced Affordable Care Act subsidies. That was a key demand from Democrats in this shutdown. But it would make sure there's a vote in the Senate on it later. And since
okay, hold on. Let me just bring that back. Maybe I misunderstood this. 2 seconds, y'all, because this is breaking news. I just want to make sure I'm getting this right. Funding deal elements, reversal of Trump's firings of federal employees. Okay, right. So Trump's not going to fire certain federal employees, right? That's what he says. That's what he says. Keep in mind, Trump doesn't follow the law. He will challenge any law. Secondly, doesn't Trump have to agree on this? Let me dig that up while I'm watching this.
Fully fund several key agencies. It includes a reversal of Trump's firings of federal employees and provisions to stop that from happening again. It also makes sure food stamps are funded through fiscal year 2026. The broader legislation also includes 3 full-year appropriations bills. Those deal with military construction and Veterans Affairs, the legislative branch, and the Department of Ag. Now, the deal does not include an extension of the expiring Enhanced Affordable Care Act subsidies. That was a key demand from Democrats in this shutdown. But it would make sure there's a vote in the Senate on it later. And since the bill passed out of the Senate tonight, it will have to go back to the House. And passing it there sends it to President Trump's desk to reopen the government. And that process could still take several more days. So this is...
Okay, so you hear that. This has to be agreed upon by Trump, right? And even if it's signed, you have to understand right now, a lot of the things that Trump is not following are laws that he signed in when he was the president the first time. You see what I'm saying? So this, in a sense, is bullshit. Not in a sense, it's bullshit. It's bullshit. There was no point in them even caving into this because it's no promise of nothing. It's no promise of anything.
Not deep in the... would make sure there's a vote in the Senate on it later. And since the bill passed out of the Senate tonight, it will have to go back to the House. And passing it there...
And MAGA Mike Johnson already said he ain't going to do shit on it. But of course, he probably changed his mind now, right? Because they need something that they can make... Republicans in the MAGA movement, they need a victory or else their constituents are going to become angry. So this is kind of like the fake victory, although it's nothing. It's really literally nothing. It's nothing. This is nothing. This is like saying, yeah, my health care got fucked. I didn't want it. I found out late that Trump was going to cut my health care. And now it's still getting cut, but I'm being made to feel like everything's okay.
sends it to President Trump.
This is what it sounds like to me anyway.
Desk to reopen the government, and that process could still take several more days. So this is consent of the expiring Enhanced Affordable Care Act subsidies. That was a key demand from Democrats in the shutdown, but it would make sure there's a vote in the Senate on it later. And since the bill passed out of the Senate tonight, it will have to go back to the House, and passing it there sends it to President Trump's desk to reopen the government, and that to the House, and passing it there sends it to President Trump's desk to reopen the government, and that process could still take several more days. So
right. So I mean, this goes back to MAGA Mike Johnson. Hold on, let me see something real quick here. Let me see something, y'all. How many votes does it need in Congress to be official and sent to Trump's desk from this point? This is hilarious. I mean, you know, why didn't they just stand strong and get everything they fucking wanted? Now, check this out. This time, it only needs a simple majority. So this will be on Republicans in Congress, you know, and in a way, politically, that is okay for that's okay. If it's going to pass, it's better that it passes with no Democrat votes, right? Or no independent votes, no Democrat votes. Yeah, big up to the independent listeners, right? But and the Democratic listeners and you maggots, you know, trolls and everything, and then you reasonable Republicans that get what I'm saying, since I have health care and yours is on the line, right? This, you know, seems like, you know, the Republicans are still going to have to own this in the electoral. And yeah, but it doesn't look good. I think, you know, for the Dems, 8 Dems to support that in the Senate, I don't think it does any justice to the American people. It just made the holdouts for nothing. What was the holdout for then? You know, they just undermined their own party's effort. These 8 Democrats, like, they undermined all their own party's efforts. And I just am really just like, wow. Just wow. I'm like, damn, is it really like that? Is that the best y'all can do? Like, is this really the best you can do? I mean, I think that's pathetic because, again, we're talking about healthcare, education. We're talking about just fairness. You know, I mean, so do you want someone to stand tall with you, Senator Kaine? Do you want someone to stand tall with you, Janae Shahid, Senator Cortez? You want someone to stand with you, hold the line with you? Well, guess what you did? You don't stand the line. You don't hold the line. No one should hold the line with you. You just made yourself a nobody. You may as well just fucking get out of the party. Do something else. Start a new party. What's the point in you know, like, and again, this was not Schumer. As I was pointing out, this is not Schumer. For those of you that, you know, are talking about, you know, you tired of Schumer and you tired of blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? You're tired of Jeffries. This was not Jeffries. This was not Schumer. No, they held the line. And actually, I think this time around, they were like true tacticians. You know what I mean? Schumer offered them something that would extend for a year, which was brilliant, until after the next midterm elections. You know what I'm saying? That's what Schumer did. And then these 8 sold him out. You know what I'm saying? The 8 sold him out. You know what I mean? And, you know, American people are just going to have to deal with what happens. But although, what you did right here, I'm going to tell you what this does. It looks like to me anyway. And then I'm going to follow up and do some little research. But this is in the last, 12 hours, this, right? 12 hours? Right. Something like that. To me, it looks like basically the billionaires got their money. Elon Musk got his money. Peter Thiel got his money. Everybody else that's part of big business got their money because, that shutdown affects them. it doesn't really seem like the American people got shit, to be honest with you. Nothing in here. Let me just go over to this and just ask one more question. I'm going to let this play a little bit. Hold on. Let's let this play out.
This is not the end yet. And like we said, the government shutdown is also the longest in history. It was deadlocked for a while with no end in sight. That is, until now. WMUR's Maria Wilson is here in studio with how New Hampshire lawmakers played those key roles in getting this through. Maria?
Yeah, John, tonight's deal marking a major breakthrough in the government shutdown. And like you mentioned, John, there are two New Hampshire senators at the heart of it, Jeanne Shaheen and Maggie Hassan. Together with Senator Angus King from Maine, the two Granite State senators helped lead negotiations on the deal to reopen the government. One expert tells me it's not an unusual partnership for a few different reasons. Now, one of those because Senator Shaheen and Hassan have a pre-existing working relationship. So coming together in this way, we're told, makes sense. And the second reason for this, one expert says they are each fairly secure politically. Senator Jeanne Shaheen has announced earlier this year that she's not seeking re-election. And as for Senator Hassan, she isn't up for re-election until 2029, which makes neither of them politically vulnerable. And tonight we are hearing from both New Hampshire lawmakers.
Over the last several weeks, I've heard from Granite Staters who can't afford a doubling of their health insurance costs. I've also heard from families about the deep pain.
This is her excuse, right? This was her excuse, because every representative has heard this. This is what the shutdown was about. You see what I mean? People heard the pain that was going to come, and it was like, wait a second, we better shut this shit down and make a new deal. She sold the deal out because of the pain. But you're going to get pain from the deal. So
the government shutdown has caused, made worse by a president who illegally and repeatedly chose to cut off help for families who are just trying to buy groceries.
I understand that not all of my Democratic colleagues are satisfied with this agreement, but waiting another week or another month wouldn't deliver a better outcome. It would only mean more harm for families in New Hampshire and all across.
Somebody said, V, state your sources. Look at this. Obamacare is doubling. Look at this. Jose says, hey, V, state your sources. Doubling insurance is Obamacare. No. That's not how this game plays. See, I have health care. I have universal health care. I live outside of the U.S. I'm not doing your lazy work for you. You better go do your work. You're the one that's asses on the line here. Like, Jose, that's if you're an American citizen. You need to be concerned enough to know. Now, if you don't trust my word, I don't give a fuck. Like, straight up, is that my ass on the line, dude? What are you talking about? You better go find out if what I'm saying is right. Because if what I'm saying is right, you're fucked. Okay, that should be enough. I don't have any, of course there's sources. What are you talking about? The sources have been discussed over the last month, man, during the shutdown. Come on, stop being lazy. People are already getting in the mail notices that their health care is about to double and triple. What are you talking about? Like, I really don't understand this, but Jose, no worries. Usually I do cover sources here, and there are plenty of sources to throw out there. But yo, man, what the hell? You're a little behind on this one, man.
Across the country, and this is the only.
Keep in mind, I don't have a leg in this. I don't have a leg in this. You see what I mean? I have health care. Universal health care. I live outside of the U.S. Every other damn NATO nation has it. So the facts are out there. If you want to know what drives up costs, it's when it's privatized. When healthcare is privatized, it drives up costs. When it's completely and totally privatized, which it is in the U.S., that's what's driving up the cost. Part of it should be standardized. Part of it, you shouldn't be paying more for a damn syringe than somebody in Canada pays for the same syringe. Why the fuck is that happening? What the fuck are you talking about? And then your tax dollars actually go to inventing the type of syringe that the private industry uses. What the fuck are you already paying for it in your taxes? Wake up. Yo, I have universal health care. My ass is not on the line. I'm an American citizen. I live outside of the United States. Yo, you voters in the United States are the ones whose ass is on the line. You don't need to convince me or nothing.
Only the first step.
Now this
You need to convince yourself that the choices you made are correct, because you're going to live them out.
deal is getting bipartisan support. Senators Hassan and Shaheen were joined by 6 other Democrats. Together with Senate GOP leaders, those 8 Democratic votes were critical in getting those 60 votes which were needed to pass this.
Look, most of you in the chat, you can't afford health care. You talking about, somebody said it also improves the quality of care. It also improves the quality of care. Not if you don't get it. A lot of you are about to not get it. Don't you understand how many of you are now not going to get it? You already were not covering everybody in the first goddamn place. Every American citizen was not being covered under Obamacare. Now even less are going to be covered. And you think you're going to be the lucky one? Let me tell you, you're not the lucky one. You're the unlucky one. That's why you're here. You're the unlucky one. You're not the millionaire. Like, just stop it. Stop pretending in the chat that you're somebody special. You're not. You're an average Joe and you're fucked. Like, seriously, you better wake up.
Live in the studio, Marie Wilson, WMUR News 9.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, goddamn. It's like, sometimes I really wonder.
Legislation to reopen the government. The bill advanced by a vote of 60 to 40, just barely meeting the 60 votes needed to keep it moving forward.
So the shutdown, it just barely. So they had to push really hard for those 8 senators to sign it, but they got it.
Now that the bill has cleared this major hurdle, it's a question of when the bill passes, not if. The vote came after a handful of Democrats agreed to support the Republican bill that would extend government funding through the end of
Do me a favor, click the like button, y'all. Thanks.
January. Some of those Democrats shared concerns about the devastating impact of the shutdown, now in its 40th day.
I need a moratorium on the punishing of the federal workforce. That's what I need. And so I joined this group to make sure that we could get important protections for federal employees.
What you got to understand is that those cuts that Trump wanted for the billionaires, they needed to be funded. Now they're funded. You see what I'm saying? Of course, it has to go back to the Congress, but it's only a simple majority now in the Congress, which is 51 votes, not a super majority, which would have been, a lot more than not 51, half. I'm sorry. In Congress, it would have been half, but that they need. In Congress, it's just above half that they need now. Before, it was the supermajority in Congress, and they couldn't get it out of the Democratic. They couldn't get any Democrats to join them. But now that it's passed through the Senate, it goes back to the Congress. The Congress only needs a simple majority. So that's not more than half. That's just 1 vote more than half. That's not a supermajority. So what this does is that the proposal that Trump signed for the billionaires to get all their money, all the tax breaks, all this other shit, all these private contracts to be paid, all of this stuff, they're basically going to get it now. They're basically going to get it. What it also means is less people get health care. And we're not talking about illegals. We're talking about American citizens. Less American citizens immediately will have their health care dumped. And I'm going to find out what percentage that is. But this is what you got out of it. And while a percentage of American citizens get dumped from health care, the rest of you, because you're so lucky, you will pay twice, 3 times, and 4 times more for the health care you have right now. And none of you are billionaires in the chat. None of you are millionaires. I mean, what the fuck? Why would you celebrate that? Like, come on. Even if you're a troll, you could have some broke ass, allegiance to the broke people. Show a spine. Come on, you broke too.
And what we have in this bill is the restoration of all the furloughed employees and a guarantee of their back pay, the restoration of all RIFT employees who got RIFT after October 1 with all of their back pay.
But the deal does not include the Democrats' key demand.
Yo, Mr. Ribbles, Mr. Tibbles, how much money do you make a year, Mr. Tibbles? What health care program do you have? Let me guess, you one of the upper class people, right, Mr. Tibbles? Mr. Tibbles is celebrating American citizens. Look, I don't understand some of these people because they think that every American that's a Democrat is we're for illegal immigrants getting health care or getting, no, I haven't met any Democrat that's for any illegal immigrant getting any goddamn thing. I've never met one. I'm against it. However, I'm for American citizens, and I know American citizens well, and you all don't look good on paper. On paper, you look like you're in a fucked up situation, like seriously. And the qualifying information is out there in the media, where you have Republicans going broke on farms. You have people that have businesses, small businesses, going out of fucking business, American citizens, because of these tariffs, right? And none of you can afford a doubling or tripling of healthcare, which is what you just agreed on in this bill. So I don't get you. I don't get your narrative. That, yeah, you know, as long as less illegal immigrants get it, I'm for it. Yo, dude, you got played on that one.
And they called for an extension on Obamacare subsidies to keep premiums from skyrocketing. There is just the promise of a future vote on health care.
A promise. So right now, all the Congress needs is just one more vote over half, and you will be paying more for your health care for sure. I mean, it's already set pretty much, because insurance companies, right, which is what you have in the United States of America, they don't have to wait for this change. They're a business. So they have an obligation to stay afloat and do whatever they can to stay afloat as a corporation. This is what you voted for. So these corporations, now they know that the hikes are coming. So, you know, they already long in advance started hiking the prices. So they don't have to wait, because their job is to make money. So there you have it. Now, let me ask you, where are you going to get your health care from? Where are you going to get your health care from? Let me know what state. I'm going to Google the price of it. So I'm real quick, so we can see how much you're going to be paying. Yeah, but the good part about this is that the billionaires, they get all their money, which none of you are in the chat. None of you are billionaires, and none of you are millionaires. Put a 1 in the chat if you're a millionaire. By the way, maybe I'm wrong. Put a 1 in the chat if you're a millionaire. Folks, go look for a job from those people, since they like these kind of laws. Go get health care from them, since they voted against the average person. Let's see here.
Despite that, Illinois Senator Dick called for an extension on Obamacare subsidies to keep premiums from skyrocketing. There is just the promise of a future vote on health care. Despite that, Illinois Senator Dick Durbin is one of the Democrats supporting the plan. He released a statement saying, in part, at Democrats' urging, today's bill is not the same one we voted down 14 times. Republicans finally woke up and realized their Groundhog Day needed to end.
That's not, I don't know what the hell he's talking about. Like, what is not the same? What is he talking about? This doesn't even make sense. These two statements right here. Look, here we go.
But the deal does not include the Democrats' key demand. They called for an extension on Obamacare subsidies to keep premiums from skyrocketing. There is just the promise of a future vote on health care. Despite that, Illinois Senator Dick Durbin is one of the Democrats supporting the plan. He released a statement saying, in part, at Democrats.
It's not the same. Yeah, because they said, yeah, well, we promise you that we will have a vote on Obamacare, even though there's nothing called Obamacare. There's nothing called Obamacare. There's the American Health Care Act that was bipartisan passed, but this guy is saying it's not the same because there's a promise. Because the last time when they said no, there was no promise. But what the fuck is a promise, yo? Which one of you taxpayers out there promise to pay your taxes? Do you promise? If you promise to pay your taxes, put a 1 in the chat. Or do you have to by threat of jail? I mean, I'm assuming most of you do it under threat of jail. OK, and it's not a promise. Nobody gives a fuck if you promise. You can't leave the IRS talking about, I promise. You can't leave every hour you work has nothing to do with no promise about no goddamn taxes.
Democrats urging today's bill is not the same one we voted down 14 times. Republicans finally woke up and realized their Groundhog Day needed to end. This bill is not perfect, but it takes important steps to reduce their shutdown's hurt. Not only would it fully fund SNAP for the year ahead, it would reverse the mass firings the Trump administration ordered throughout the shutdown.
Yeah, but check it out. What he's not telling you is that the SNAP in the agreement is reduced from what it was last year. You see what I mean? So that's the problem. The big beautiful bill he's talking about, it will fully fund SNAP. Yeah, while it's reduced more than it's ever been reduced before in the last 10 years. Like, so this is very sad to watch. And it is really, I got to say this, I don't really care who you are, Republican, Democrat, or Independent. I mean, I'm sorry for just the average person, the average citizen, because I know damn well the average citizen can't get along with this. This is going to hurt them. This is going to put a lot of people out on the street. I'm talking about citizens, fuck illegal immigrants. I'm only obligated to, I'm talking about citizens here. Citizens are going to be thrown out on the street and thrown off of their health care. If citizens want to keep their health care, they probably will have to sell their house just to keep it for a couple of years until something's done. But they won't afford both. I mean, I'm telling you, they may not even be able to afford any option, to be honest with you. A lot of the hardworking people that have a home and could barely keep it because of the cost of health care before, those people are out of their houses now. The people that got houses from their families, their grandparents or their parents, those people are pretty much out of the loop. And this doesn't matter if you're this is not about Republican or Democrat. It's just all of those people, independents, Democrats, Republicans. Yeah.
Illinois Senator Tammy Duckworth is not supporting the plan. Tonight, she says, I simply cannot and I will not vote to do anything to protect them from Trump's vindictive and malicious efforts in exchange for a vague promise from the least trustworthy Republican Party in our nation's history.
Thank you, Tammy Duckworth. Thank you, Tammy Duckworth, for actually, doing the right thing. And she's not doing the right thing for Democrats. She's not doing the right thing for Republicans or independents. She's just doing the right thing for American citizens, because it is American citizens that are pretty much the only Western people that haven't figured out how to make healthcare cheaper and make it for everybody. It's only American citizens. It's only American citizens that at best 50% of their taxes goes directly back to impact their actual lives directly, or their community or their neighbors directly. Only 50%. No other nation in the West does that. Every other nation is 60%, 65% of the taxes they pay go back to directly impact their lives. Healthcare, childcare, all these different things, housing, So elder care, that's not the United States. At best, 50% of your taxes does that. And now Trump, with the big, beautiful bill, it will reduce it to 40%, maybe 35%. You see? So congratulations to the billionaires. To the fools that went along with it. I feel sorry for your fucking lives, man. I know so many people that were capping. I mean, I'm going to say this. I know a lot of black Americans that were capping for Trump. I saw that. Not a lot, but, more than usual. Yo, you guys are fucked. Like, you black Americans, you just committed genocide. Like, straight up. The ones of you that voted for Trump, and you white Americans ain't no better, because you are in the same fucking position. And that's what's even crazy. More of you are in that position, and you committed I would call it poor white genocide. And yeah. I even said this before. If there was a evil black man that wanted revenge on white people in America, it would be Trump.
We have more reaction and extensive coverage on our news app and website.
Yeah, so
we have breaking news
there
in
you
Washington.
Have it. Yeah.
Tonight, where it appears a deal has been reached to end the government shutdown. You're going to take a live look at a live picture here of the Senate floor, where senators just took a procedural.
Yeah, so I'm curious about what the what the news cycle is going to say about this. Here's another look.
The motion to invoke cloture.
Cloture motion. We, the undersigned senators, in accordance with the provisions of Rule 22 of the Standing Rules of the Senate, do hereby move to bring to a close debate on the motion to proceed to Calendar 168, H.R. 5371, an act making continuing appropriations and extensions for fiscal year 2000.
Okay, wait a second. I see. Let me see something. This was Is it Terry? Terry, I see your message. I'm going to sleep for work in 7 hours, but very disappointed at this vote and Dems caving in. This is not what America wanted. Yeah, this is not what America wanted. No sensible American would want this, regardless of party. I feel so bad. Let me see here. Jose says lots of other people are challenging me. Hey man, you don't have to challenge me. I mean, like I said, I live outside of the U.S., so I have universal health care. My kids have it. My kids get paid to go to school. I was born and raised in Washington, D.C. Both sides of my family are from the colonial period in the U.S. I've always been pretty politically active, more than most people my age when I was a younger person. You know what I mean? So I'm pretty much, you could say coming from a grassroots background. So I believe in read the laws yourself. Don't rely on someone else to read it. And here's the thing. I already knew when I was moving outside of the United States that there were benefits to that, because the benefits aren't secret. You see what I mean? And for you to not know those benefits and know those nuances, hey man, I'm not really here today. It's not really my job. You could, by the way, Jose, you could put a Cash App in the chat. You could, if you want me to do your work for you, you could do that. I'll take an hour, put together all the data to you, release it on a PDF if you like. But for me, you could challenge my opinion, because I'm not giving you all the facts, but I'm not going to give you all the facts for free, Jose, brother. You got to do that on your own. Now, if you want to pay me, I could put together a PDF for you with all the facts, and you can disseminate it, and then you can have a debate if you want. But outside of that, I'm pretty comfortable with my opinion from where I'm sitting. You see what I mean? Because this law doesn't affect me. My family is not really the brokest family in the U.S. But yes, it will harm them, And so I'm wise enough to know, since I do talk to a lot of my friends too in the U.S., I talk to a lot of Americans every day, not just over the internet in the chat here. You know what I mean? I'm talking about just over the phone. And I'm a little confused how you don't know this will affect the average person in a negative way in the United States. Now, if you want to disagree, that's perfectly fine. You're the one that has to pay the price, not me. So, yeah. But damn, this is really, really sad. This is really, really sad, man. Look, somebody says, stay where you are. Don't need another Democrat supporter. Well, I'm voting. I vote. I vote. I just didn't get my vote. What, you don't want me to have a vote even though I didn't get my way this time? Is it that bad for you? Wow, that's interesting. Oh, look, somebody else said, it must be smoking weed. Yo, man, like I said, you guys must be rich in the chat. You must really be rich. My thinking is that you're probably not rich, right? My thinking is that most of you, no matter your education, are probably average, right? And the average American needs to know that this bill was not good. And I think a lot of the people that know it's not good probably make more money than the people who are capping on the internet. That's what I think, so it's really sad, but let me see here. There's one other thing I wanted to check out here. What we do know, contracts, subsidies, and grants to large companies. There are many examples of U.S. companies that receive large government contracts, subsidies, or grants as a part of federal funding bills or appropriations. For instance, an article by Visual Capitalist, did you want a reference? Visualcapitalist, y'all.com. An article by Visual Capitalist, U.S. corporations that receive the most government subsidies. The federal budget process explicitly funds agencies, programs, and projects via appropriations bills. You know what projects are? That's like Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, these kind of government projects that every taxpayer must by law fund out of every hour that you work and every penny that you earn. The federal budget process explicitly funds agencies, programs, projects. When Congress passes funding, agencies gain budget authority to contract, grant, or sub-award funds. So you see that? You see how that works? That is by that news right there. This part. Yeah, you want me to cite my source? That's congress.gov. This part. The federal budget process explicitly funds agencies, programs, and projects via appropriation bills. When Congress passes funding, right, which now, because of the Senate got their supermajority, Congress doesn't need a supermajority to pass, right? Agencies gain budget authority, right, to contract, grant, and subaward funds. Large corporations, for those very familiar with government, procurement, and policy, defense contractors, infrastructure firms, medical, biotech firms. Did you know your taxes go to medical and biotech firms? Yeah. A lot of you people that are going to be kicked off of your health care plan, and a lot of you people that will remain and pay double and triple, you already subsidize a lot of the health care that you won't get access to or that you will now pay double for. Yeah, just in case you didn't know that, are structurally positioned to capture some of that funding, either directly, via partnership, right, subcontracting, right, and that's congress.gov. Now, let's see here. House committee says large corporations appear in criticisms of appropriations bill. For example, a press release from Democrats on the House Appropriations Committee argues particular 2026 funding bill sides with billionaires and big corporations. All right. That's from the House Committee. You can go look it up on their website. That's a government agency, as you know. That suggests corporate interests are closely aligned with certain legislative funding programs. The process is not direct. Give funds to billionaires personally, but allocates funds to programs and subcontractors. The appropriation process doesn't say give X dollars to billionaire Y. Instead, Congress authorizes funding lines. For example, the Department of Commerce shall have X dollars for semiconductor initiatives. Right. And who is the one who's, what corporation is actually working on that for the United States? I think you get the idea. If you don't, look it up yourself. Then relevant agencies distribute those funds according to law, contract, regulation. OK, thus, large companies and wealthy individuals often benefit via their companies, subsidiaries, contracts, or investments rather than a direct check from Congress. Now, how many of you in the chat work for any company that gets some of these subsidies? If you do, put a 1 in the chat and name it. Any of you work for any of those companies that get government subsidies? Put a 1 in the chat and name it. I mean, because then I could understand why you would vote for this, right? But if you don't, that would be kind of weird. Okay, well, let's just go on here. I see not too many people work for any of those companies in the chat. Now, what we don't know yet, which bills certain specific line items benefiting specific billionaire-owned companies. Right, of course, you don't know that factually, but they have a damn good idea who that is because they all standing around Trump and already are getting some of those subsidies. Now, unless you divide into the text of funding bill plus associated reports, committee documents, you won't immediately know which companies will benefit. How much of the funding ends up in the hands of specific billionaires or their firms? Right. And it's designed that way so simple-minded fools like some in the chat won't ever catch on to. Whether the newly passed funding bill, the one you referenced from last night, contains identified corporate earmarks that benefit certain billionaire-linked companies, we don't have the breakdown here. Right. So I hope you kind of get an idea of how that works for those that have never really looked into it before. But I would encourage you, since it's your ass and not mine, to look into it more. Like straight up, because it also, I say, if somebody, this is what you learn when you grow up in DC. I learned this as a young kid. If somebody wants to go out there, one of my friends wants to go out there and do some shit that's going to land their ass in a fucked up situation, hey, and it's my buddy, I just say, okay, well, I'll catch up with y'all later. I learned how to do that as a teenager. I'm still alive. I've seen a lot of the world since then. Haven't been in jail. Haven't, had a lot of the things. I've seen some friends pass away, but you know what I'm saying? I mean, you learn that as a kid growing up in DC. You got to learn how to say, let people, pick their own poison pill. And so I have no problem with people picking their own poison pill because it's not my poison pill. You see what I mean? I don't go along on the ride with you personally. You see what I mean? So while you in January, when this, a lot of these things start to play out, this is right after your Christmas, by the way, for those of you to celebrate Christmas. I'm still going to be here following the news, right? What's up, Donnie? Yeah. I'm still going to be here checking it out. If I am wrong, we will see. But if I'm wrong, I want you to come back and show me, have the same energy. You know what I'm saying? Keep your spirits up. If I'm wrong, if I'm right, I mean, hey, what can I say? If I'm right, hey, what can I say? You know what I mean? But if I am right and you find that out 2 months from now, what you going to do? You're going to carry the same attitude about it? Some of you will, but it ain't my responsibility to go on that ride with you. So, that's what it is. I hope you understand that. You know what I mean? I'm not on that ride with you. I wish all Americans a fair shot. Housing, healthcare, education. I am one of the Americans that lives outside in the bigger part of the Western world, where most people don't understand what you're going through in the U.S. And if they do understand any of it, they see it through the lens of corporate interests taking control over the country and not the citizen doing what's right for themselves. You see what I mean? So I'm one of those people, and I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. You know what I mean? But hey, if it does, we all have to change a little. So on that note, click the like button. I'm very disappointed in those eight senators that took that vote. But I would say this, to those 8 senators, it's better that you did this than me, because I could never do this to another American citizen. Just so you know, these representatives, I could never do what they did. I'm not that shameful. And I actually love my fellow citizens, and I really love to see them travel abroad, too. And but to be honest, a lot of them can't because they're strapped with debt from education, strapped with debt from medical bills, strapped with debt from, fake corporations stealing their money, strapped with debt for paying 3 and 4 and 5 times more for just regular shit that everybody else seems to have. I mean, look at your phone bill right now. These people don't even want you to have a decent phone bill. That is the crazy thing about it. Like, they don't even want you to have a decent phone bill in the United States of America. Like, I've been saying this for some time. I mean, I pay $14 for 100 gigabytes and unlimited phone service for my mobile phone a month. $14. What do you pay in the United States of America, the most advanced country on earth? What do you pay, say you, chat? Everybody in the chat, let me know how much you pay for your cell phone. I pay $14 for 100 gigabytes a month and unlimited phone service. What do you pay? I'm just going to sit back and take the ride and watch. Let people tell me what they pay. And of course, you could keep paying what you pay if you think it's the best. I mean, why vote differently if you think you already got it good? Okay, let me put 14 in the chat. I'll put $14 a month for 100 gigs. I don't even use my gigs. 100 gigs for 100 gigs and unlimited phone. Okay. What do you pay? Right. Oh, you see, it's a lot of people that don't want to say what they pay. You see? And I think that's the perfect example of people really being out of touch, you know, with what's going on. You see, somebody say mine's is free. Okay, there you go, man. You know, yo, I'm not complaining about my phone bill. I'm saying, why aren't you complaining about yours? Don't get it twisted, you know, but this is the same game with the healthcare. This is the same shit with healthcare. This is the same shit with education. Why do you pay more? What the fuck? You think you get better service than me? I don't think so. And I don't think you get the better service for me with this for the better price than I get it for. And I'm just saying, why do you? You know, look, somebody said $25. What is this? Fiji don't count, man. Fiji don't count. This is not a Fiji. I'm just talking about Americans right now, American citizens. But are you an American citizen in Fiji? Okay, let me know about that. Yeah, well, there you go. Shit, I can understand that. That's closer to what I'm paying. If that's what you're saying. Yeah, I get that. Okay, my fault. What do you pay for your phone service, y'all? Throw it up. How much you pay for a month? What do you get? How many gigabytes and how many minutes do you get a month? And how much do you pay a month? Don't get shy when it comes to the effects of this big beautiful bill. Oh, okay, there you go. Oh, thanks for Vine's. I can't see that really. Hold on for a second, y'all. It's because I got on my glasses, so they're kind of messing up my close. Vine. Did I say that right? 17? Yeah, there you go. Well, thanks for chiming in and letting people know, because more of us need to know. More American citizens need to know what the fuck is going on. Like, you know, when you don't have something to compare what you got to, a lot of times people think they have the best and don't realize they getting their ass kicked and voting to get their ass kicked. 25 unlimited 50 gigabytes. What company is that, Andrew? What company you got? Share it with everybody so people can go check it out. Okay. I have a Danish company because I live in Denmark, but that's what I pay, $14 a month. I could pay half of that if I only wanted 50 gigabytes. You know, look at this. Somebody said phones are free in America. You see, so folks, just pay attention right here. If you saw, you know, the chat is on replay. So after an hour, you will be able to go back and look at the trolls, and notice you will see trolls. You know, just follow their comments. They will tell you, yay, Trump. And then they will tell you something like phones are free in America. So just beware of that when you listen to a troll. OK, pay attention, because the troll will have your ass broke and out on the street, yo. Like straight up. Donnie, you know what I'm saying? Like, really, man. It's like, what the hell? There's nothing wrong with saying you pay too much motherfucking money for your goddamn phone bill, and to be in the world's most technological nation, strongest nation on earth, it should be motherfucking freer. And if you can't get your goddamn phone bill for a decent price in fucking United States of America, shit, no wonder you paying an arm and a leg for everything else. Because the easiest thing to do would to be get you a decent phone bill. That would be the easiest fucking thing to do. You know, and apparently they just ain't no fucking good at it. You know, like really, it's serious. It's serious, man. Free phone for people living off the government, aka the people. Yeah, exactly. That's the troll for you. You know, beware the trolls. They'll have you, and then he probably he want to kick the troll, want to kick people off of government help. Meanwhile, they the ones on it and shit. It's like, what the fuck is going on here? Yeah, people. I think the phone bill is the great analogy, the best analogy I could make. Yeah, free. Denmark, my bill, 100 gigabytes a month, unlimited phone access. I'm just talking about my phone bill. My kids get paid to go to school. We have universal health care. 75% of the taxes we pay go back to directly impact our lives. Child care, clean water, education, healthcare, these kind of things. And in the United States, 50% of your taxes before Trump go directly back to affect your life in a positive way. The other 50%, you don't know where the fuck it goes. It doesn't go to your communities. You know what I'm saying? And now that Trump has got this big, beautiful bill, it will be more like 35-40% of the taxes you pay will go to benefit your lives directly. So if that's the U.S. you want to have, then that's the U.S. you vote for. And apparently people voted for that. And that's how democracy works. Democracy doesn't work on feel good notions. It doesn't work. It doesn't work on, how angry you are about one topic when you're completely unaware about 1,000 other topics. No, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work on hate the trannies, but not know a goddamn thing about how healthcare works. No. You need to know about a whole lot when you vote so that you don't get tricked, so you don't get used. You see what I mean? And distracted about somebody actually talking about cutting your lifeline, and yeah, it's really, really sad. Look, now somebody went over to, okay, y'all talking about gas. Well, look, man, I take public transportation. I have a license, you know what I mean? I rent cars when I want to, but I live in the city, man. I don't need a car. I got metro, bus, S-Train, and all of those are like one block from where I live. You see what I mean? And those cover all of the city, everywhere where I need to go, and the suburbs. You see what I mean? So I take a taxi. I don't mind I don't mind calling an Uber or calling a taxi over here, But one thing I know is that driving in the city doesn't save you time. You see what I'm saying? So I got my parking spot, but I don't have a car anymore because I don't need it. It's a waste of money. You know what I'm saying? But I'm happy to be able to look at my mobile phone when I'm on public transport to work. You see what I'm saying? In Copenhagen, the transport system, it functions on time. It's one of the best in the world. I can fly out of the country, just hop on the metro, go directly inside of the terminal, get on my airplane. From where the subway ends inside the terminal to where the actual ticket checking is like a 3-minute walk inside with my bags. You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, if I want to take a ride to Germany or dude, I just rent a car, So, yeah, man, I hope Americans are really thinking about this. Let me see this. You said 120. I retract my last message. Okay, 120. You talking about the phone bill? They're about to pay double or triple in Medicare thanks to. Yeah, they are, man. I mean, exactly. I don't understand, man. I mean, that shows you prejudice goes a long way in what the decisions a lot of people make. Look, it's fair enough to not like shit, but don't be blinded. Don't be blinded by prejudice. You don't have to like something. If you don't like smoking crack, don't fucking smoke crack. But if you're blinded and the only thing you want to pass a law for is just a crack law, you're stupid. You see what I mean? Because it's not your life. Vote for things you want in your life, things that you need, and be honest about it. The average American is not rich. You can't afford to be blinded by prejudice, and that's exactly what if you ask me, that's what happened in this bill. Prejudice blinded people. So what you got is a few months of crazy chaos. You got a year of chaos. Now that this bill has been passed, economic chaos that's going to be disastrous to the country. And at least the best thing you could say is that you got a vote coming in November, a year from now. So it's not over for those of you that can survive the crunch, and for those of you that can get get some love and compassion from their neighbors and some help here and there. It's not over for you, but how democracy works is by vote. You know what I'm saying? And, I don't think American people voted responsibly at all in this last election for Trump. I think this is another example of that, like being very, very unwise. And I'm not talking about being unwise to other people. I'm talking about to yourself. Like, you hurt yourself more than anyone else could have ever hurt you. You know what I'm saying? And, whoever it is you don't like, if you voted for Trump, you may as well forget all the people you don't like, because you did this shit to yourself, and that's just what it is. But yo, I'm going to be out. I hope everybody has a good start to their week. You know what I'm saying? Despite that, and people got to learn from their mistakes. So those of you that's willing to learn, I'm cool with you. And those of you that didn't vote for this bullshit, big up to you. And those of you that's going to help support others and stay on the front line until some things get done, that lift everyone up again, I appreciate you. On that note, I'm out, y'all. I'll see y'all.
They want war. Crying babies looking for food. Starvation, the recipe. People subdued. When the people you trust got it in for you. Deceit is the word of the day in every crew. Don't let it go. It's from the days of old. Time is up, but some still do not know. Can I make up my mind? Is it worth the dime? Do I have to take a minute just to make it mine? Life's never fair, but don't listen to the TV. Go out and take a listen to the streets with the people in the slums and the homeless bums. With degrees and degrees sitting under a tree. It's not easy in the world for the poor man, the one that brought you to reality. See, they don't want you to know about the black sheep. Leaving 7 roads to the 12 families all around the globe with an ancient code. Is it really asking a lot to say a death old? Cause we sitting on the earth looking back at extinct, and I'm standing on some ground that's about to sink. I ain't scared for a minute, I ain't about to blink, but I documented for the world what I see and think. Feel we on the calling up and we on the brink. All Congress gonna do is waste paper and ink. Vote or die. You voted and you'll die. You can have it both ways, can't say it's a lie. You can march all you want, but they playing you wrong. They only understand war, it's the same old song. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. All they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. Like a lotus coming out of the mud with colors, I create envy in those with power but jealous. I unify the poor with my song, the hell with the others. Descended the way they treat indigenous brothers, cause I understand we link forever. They try to hate us even though that we keep it together. I'm not talking about controlling the air or the weather. I'm talking about maintaining the truth, the high endeavor. A rebel drops bombs in the midst of trouble. The free world counterattack, and now there's double. But nature gets the shit in a way that's subtle. If you stop the machines for a minute, you might hear, but they won't, cause the TVs whisper in the ear. And capitalism has eyes that don't tear, and they cloud up and get crazy and won't steer. And like an ab, it's hard to get an ass to listen. Living like this is like living in prison. It's hard to keep hope when you're living in prison. The spiritual thoughts, so yes, the mental prison. The outside, yes, it's got to get through. Something's gotta die, so something here can live. Your life is nothing if you got nothing to give. Keeping the spiritual, yes, disguised as religion. Controlling your mind, the mental prison. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. All they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. whack MC when he bustin', but I just back away real cool, no fussin'. I'd rather go kicking in the streets with the bums and use the knowledge to collect what? Some funds, open a non-profit and build a damn school. And this is the story of how a great king rules. There's many that claim to know the local demographic, but don't have the nerve to tell you the truth. It's tragic, but I do, so sit back and let me spit this shit to you. You feel better when I spit this shit to you. Despite the system trying to clamp down on the people will learn how to stand up to evil. Not evil that's across the globe, that's too far, but evil lies in their own backyard. And fighting, it's not an option, they can't win. The government, it's not supposed to represent sin, but then again they do, and that's a problem. So let's go down and figure out how to solve them. It's not fun being a rapper that can't speak, but we do, yes, and plus we make fat beats. Yo, we smoke weed, break up trees. Listen, bringing fat beats, that is our mission. You wanted to see us, homeboy, shut up and listen. Thelonious and Big Benny, brother, check the vision. Mentalities, several different realities. Enter the Star Trek room when you hear the boom. I be the Walkman with the super bass. Automatic stop, yes, stereo cassette player. With the delayer, freaky lyrical sprayer. Extraterrestrial rhyme sayer. I be the poetical VIC/master of the ceremony. Testimony, won't you come step with me? I'm on a historical journey, kinda like Sigourney. Implore me to represent the attorney that represents my niggas, go figure. Here's the card, they call me Uncle Vigor. Niggas love your blunts, down your liquors. I be the parallel to the fiction. You're fixated on this brother's nature. Relaxed behavior, I might save your change. Flip it, rearrange. The whole concept, yo, is good for all your brain. Insane, psychotic, neurotic, black onyx, and hooked on phonics. Yes, atomic, it bleeds like a bonnet. Cut with the Asiatic, they all up on it. Rhyme static with the robotic type of skill. You wonder, is this nigga Vic really for real? It's still, but only necessary in the berry. I'm milk like dairy, they quite contrary. That's scary, but I'm a dog in the prairie. I scurry to grab my bones and just bury. Lyrical flurry, go get your secretary with impeccable dictions. My style might vary, so get a hold of your own shit real fast. Fucking with us, we take it right out your ass. Every dog chill while the other dogs howl. Too many dogs get sent to the pound. Back on the hill, me and my peeps just lounge. Prairie dogs, we keep it on the down. Splatter, don't like gun splatter. We try to climb a ladder, wicked men get better. They make it like slatter, but it really don't matter. Cause you know we coming back to our sons and our daughters. So father him the one who protects ya, and the mother she will never neglect ya. Through divine nature the people respect ya, and in this way I deliver my lecture.